And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at Moonbase from Itten. Now, Moonbase is an abstract strategy game which uses a moon-based theming, and you're going to be placing rings, gold, silver, and blue rings, on the face of the moon, on different craters, building towers of them and moving a research station around. If someone said to me, explain real quick how to get points in this game, or explain really quickly how to play, or a quick summary of the game, I'm not sure I can. It's not that it's that complicated, but it's a little odd to explain, okay, so you're going to try to build your rings as high as you can and be able to still play rings in other spots. You know what? Just here is the kind of the gist of it. In this game, one player is going to be silver, one person is going to be gold, and you're trying to get the most points. And on each round, and there are 6 rounds in the game, players are going to take 2 rings from the top of any of these. You're going to randomly put stacks of rings. You'll take 2 large rings, and you'll take 2 small rings. And then maybe my opponent will take those 2 small rings and these 2 large ones. You can take them from the top of any pile, even a pile that someone else has already taken. And at the end of the game, all the rings are going to be used, hopefully. On your turn, you can place a ring on the board. There are different craters on the board. One of them here has this station placed in it, so you can't put a ring on that spot. You can place them, it doesn't matter if it's your color or your opponent's. Some spots are for big ones. That doesn't go there, it only goes there, for example. This can go here, but can't go here as you place these. Now, you are allowed to, when placing a ring, put it on top of 2 other rings, provided there's 2 different cases. If either one of the rings there or both are the same color, I could put that one there, I could put this one here. That's fine. If they were both blue, for example, I could not put a gold one there. I could only put a blue one there. However, you can, if both of the rings are different colors, you can place the 3rd color on top of them if it's the larger ring. And if that's the case, you will then immediately move the research station and put it in that ring. So players are going to place these out. Let's say this is the way they were placed out. You can only put a ring on top of 2 other rings, so maybe they're like this. At the end of a round, you're going to look. Each player is going to look to have any rings on the 2nd level or higher that are large, that are open. And this one is. So I can place this here. Now sometimes, due to the way these may be placed, let me see if I can find a good one here. Maybe you have this like that for some reason, and placing this here might cause it to fall over. You're allowed to place these little black discs down like this just to hold this in position. Not a big deal. They don't mean anything scoring wise. If you can't place one of these, like for example the silver player can't, then you'll take one of these tokens and put in any empty hex. And then you'll continue. Now, it is possible, as the game progresses, it's possible for players to build on top of these, and if that would be open later on, I could build this in there also. And you want to do that. You want to get these on the board, because at the end of the game, after 6 rounds, these are each worth 2 points. The little ones that are out on the board are worth 1 point, and whoever controls this here, that person is going to get 3 points. So that's a pretty thing. Also, whoever has the highest ring gets 2 points, and then whoever has the biggest group of rings connected will score 2 points. And that's how you play. The rings themselves are made of a light wood. I'm pretty sure it's just a nice light balsa almost feeling type wood. It's pretty light. There's no heft to them at all. And maybe that's also because they're rings too. They work well. It's easy to see here on the moon where you can play them. I didn't mention when you're calculating points, you will lose points for each ring you can't place if for some reason there's no place to put it there in the game. These stack pretty well though, and putting the hex inside one has a very satisfying feel. This is like a big giant pawn for whatever reason, but it moves around and fits in the bases pretty easily. The rule book is 5 pages. It's like this. They definitely clarify bad, 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 good, 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 good. And unfortunately, they have to do that for a lot of things because there's a lot of little rules on how you place things or not. It's not that difficult of a game to understand from the rules, but it is kind of a tricky one to teach. Now, I think Moonbase is a good game. Now, you may say, well, wait a minute, you're supposed to here to tell if it's a good game or not. No, I'm here to tell you if I like a game or not. And I can tell you with Moonbase, not really a big fan of it. But I'm not a big fan of many games, and I would say, well, I'm not a fan of it, but I can see it's a good game. I'm not sure if Moonbase is. The randomness of the rings is bothersome to me. If there's two of your color together, that's really good for you to grab. Your opponent can grab them and just throw them out in the bottom level, maybe. But that still doesn't hurt you a lot because you can build on top of them. So it just feels like the rings, the randomness, it's hard to do any kind of forward planning in this game. The rules are really hard to wrap your mind around. Not the rules, I guess, what to do. So obviously you want to build your rings on higher levels. The higher up your rings are, the better, and people are doing that in stacking. But as the game goes by, you're putting these pieces in, you're moving the research station, and I never sat there and was like, that's a good move. I sit there and go, I think this is good. It's hard to do any kind of setup because you don't know what rings you'll have in the next round. You don't know how your opponent's going to play. And a lot of abstract games, there's a play and response from your opponent. Here I felt like we were playing on the same board and we were playing against each other, but I never felt really that worried about what my opponent was doing. Not worried, it's just they were going to do what they were going to do. They felt like a force of nature. I felt like I was playing a solitaire game of sorts. Yeah, sometimes they would mess me up by putting something somewhere, but I don't know. It's hard to explain. I know there's a struggle in this game, but it was hard for me to visualize. In fact, the whole game was just difficult for me to visualize. I can look at it, but I don't know what to do and when to do it. And because of that, I can't really recommend this for people like me. And maybe you'll say, well, Tom, you're just too stupid to play this game. And I'll accept that. Maybe I am. Because again, it's not that the rules are that difficult, but there's things in it like, why do you put a piece out when you don't score anything? You still get a point from that piece. I guess it's, so that you slowly fill up the craters on the bottom of the board, forcing people to go up. But you know what? The game wasn't fun for me. I just didn't enjoy it. And I tried it. As soon as we were done playing the first time, I was like, well, you know what? Obviously, we didn't get it. Let's try it again. And then I felt almost a little more confused in the second one, because the second time I played through, I was like, okay, I got the rules now, but I still don't know what's good moves and what's not. Now, I'm sure there's experienced Moonbase players around the world who are going to be really good at this, and if you like the more esoteric abstract strategy games, I think this one would work for you. It might have a few too many rules. I mean, you're literally just putting a piece down, but it has to be on top of a piece that two of the same color or different colors. But if they're different colors, the piece you put on top has to be a large ring, not a small one. And you also can't put it on top of 3 rings, and you can't tuck it. There's just a lot of little rules. And I felt like an abstract strategy game should be more straightforward to me in that sense. So I think some people will like it. It looks pretty, but that's pretty much the best thing I can say about Moonbase. Dice Tower Judgment, interesting, but a little obtuse for me.